Golf swing of Micah. Let's take a look at his move. From his setup to the takeaway, you'll notice that the club head works outside the hands slightly. You'll see how we can see both the hands and the club, and that club is outside of the hands. It's important to recognize that when there are nuances in the golf swing, like Micah's wrist hinge that he has, it's important to recognize whether or not that is actually hindering someone or whether it is not. Because if it's not, then what is the point of changing it? It doesn't really make sense unless it is causing some issues in his ball flight. And to me, it doesn't look like it is causing any issues in the swing. Another thing to note is that when he gets to the top of his backswing, his hips haven't really turned back that much. If we just look at where his pelvis is pointing, it hasn't exactly turned towards the camera all that much. And also, if we just bring it back to the starting point, if we see where his hip pocket, his right pocket starts and where it finishes, it hasn't exactly gotten around his body a whole lot. And he also retains quite a lot of knee flex in this trail leg. This is probably the reason why he doesn't get that much of a hip turn, is because he keeps quite a lot of that flex in the trail leg. Now, the only times I have that much of an issue with a hip turn that isn't as big is whenever the arm structure doesn't get behind you enough. However, in Micah's case, it's in a relatively deep position. Depending on what his tendencies are and what he wants to do to improve, there is potential there to create a deeper hand path. But if he's someone that already hits too much of a hook or wants to try to be able to hit more of a fade, then potentially that getting the deeper hand path may not be the right way to go about it, because it all depends on what the golfer is trying to achieve as to what we're going to work on. So as he brings it down into the downswing, I really like this transitioning move, how the club shallows in transition and it gets into this position here. You'll see that the club shaft at this position in the swing is in a pretty shallow position there. If it's anywhere inside the ball line, so if that shaft was a little bit more vertical, then we would say it's a little bit too steep, and there's most likely going to be some compensations needed unless you just continue to hit a bit of a slice. But obviously Micah's does not, and he does it by being able to get this trail elbow externally rotated, so tucking in and allowing that club shaft to work a lot more horizontal. As he gets into the hitting position or impact, this position here looks really nice. I really like how in line the club face is with the hands. A lot of amateurs in this position here, you'll see that their club head gets outside of the hands in this position here, and they'll lead to big pulls or big slices. But Micah's is in a really awesome hitting position there. As we take it into impact, you'll see his body has rotated quite significantly. His hips are pointing pretty much towards target, and chest as well. His shoulder plane is also in a pretty good position there. I really like how that's moving, and that's going to allow the club to exit relatively neutral, not too high and not too low. So overall, I really like the things that Micah does in his golf swing, and there's no reason why he can't be able to make a living playing professional golf. I think he's got a really good swing for it, and it all depends on how much he's going to practice and go from there.